The briefing room at Langley was built for silence, not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, suffocating quiet that settled between people who carried secrets too deep for words. Maps of conflict zones glowed across the walls, the air thick with authority and control. Men in crisp suits, medals glinting under fluorescent light, filled the room. At the end of the table sat General Markson, a man known for discipline, order, and an intolerance for mistakes. And then there was her, Agent Lena Hart, standing in the corner, holding a classified folder close to her chest like a shield. It had been only 3 weeks since she was transferred from field duty to the intelligence division, a move that raised more eyebrows than she could count. Rumors spread fast, whispers that she was too young, too inexperienced, too unfit to sit in the same room as those who'd commanded decades of operations. Her every step inside headquarters felt like walking through invisible fire, but she didn't care. She was there for one reason: a name buried deep inside the files the world was never supposed to see. When the meeting began, she quietly took a seat near the back. She wasn't supposed to speak. Her job was simply to deliver intel and observe. But halfway through the briefing, when the screen displayed the map of an active operation, Lena noticed something. A missing piece in the data, a blind spot that no one else seemed to recognize. Her instincts, honed through years of fieldwork, screamed danger. She hesitated, then raised her voice softly but firmly, pointing it out. The room went still. Heads turned. General Markson's expression tightened like a storm behind glass. His voice cut through the air, cold and sharp. She was told to be quiet, to leave this to the officers who actually understood the mission. The heat of humiliation flushed through her, but she stayed still. When she tried to explain again, he snapped, ordering her out of the briefing room in front of everyone. Her folder slipped from her hands, papers scattering across the floor like fallen leaves. As she bent to gather them, her hands shook, not from fear, but from the crushing weight of being dismissed yet again. She turned to leave. But before she could reach the door, a sound broke the silence. A single chair sliding back. It was slow, deliberate. Every head turned as the CIA director, an older man with decades of service and eyes that had seen too much, stood up. He looked at Lena, then at Markson. The quiet in the room deepened until even the hum of the air vents seemed to fade away. The director's voice was calm but carried the kind of authority that could shift worlds. He reminded the room of Operation Silver Sky, the mission that saved hundreds but cost nearly everyone their lives. He reminded them that only one operative made it back alive, and that operative was standing right there, holding the same badge Markson had just dismissed. The general's face drained of color. The rest of the room froze, the reality sinking in like a thunderclap. The young woman he had ordered out wasn't just another analyst. She was the field agent who once walked through fire, carrying the last encrypted drive out of a collapsing compound. She had lost her entire team that day, yet returned to deliver the data that saved a nation. Her scars weren't visible, but they were carved deep into the way she stood, silent but unbroken. The director walked over and placed a hand on her shoulder, telling her to continue. Lena didn't look at Markson. She didn't need to. She simply returned to her seat, straightened her papers, and explained what everyone had missed. Her correction changed the course of the mission, saving a strike team from walking straight into an ambush. When she finished, the room remained silent, not out of discomfort but out of respect. From that day, no one ever questioned why she was there. Her story spread quietly through the halls of Langley, not the kind told loudly, but the kind whispered in reverence. The kind that reminded people that strength didn't always roar. Sometimes it stood quietly, holding its ground in a room full of doubters. Weeks later, General Markson approached her not as a superior, but as a man humbled by truth. He didn't apologize, and men like him rarely did, but he did something far more powerful. He listened, and in that moment she knew her voice had finally found its place. Years after that day, when new recruits walked into their first briefing and saw her photo on the Wall of Honor, they learned what it meant to rise again after being dismissed, to hold your head high even when the world tried to silence you. Because heroes aren't made in glory where they're forged in the moments no one believes in them. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Legends of History. Your support helps keep stories like this alive, and stories of courage, honor, and the people who remind us that respect is earned not by title, but by truth. Special request. Comment below. Real strength never needs permission.